The call came on a Tuesday afternoon while Sonia was reviewing quarterly reports in her corner office. Her cousin Franklin's name flashed on her phone screen. Sonia. Hey, it's Franklin. Listen, I've got some amazing news about Aunt Caroline's house. Sonia set down her pen, her stomach tightening. Aunt Caroline had passed away 6 months earlier, leaving her modest 3-bedroom house in Oakland to her 3 children, Franklin, his sister Christabel, and their brother James. The house had been in the family for 40 years. What about it? Sonia asked carefully. We sold it. Can you believe it? Got an incredible offer from this restaurant group that Dennis knows. You remember Dennis from college, right? He's been killing it in the restaurant business. The whole deal closed last week. Sonia felt her chest constrict. You sold Aunt Caroline's house? Without talking to the rest of the family? Well, it was technically ours to sell, Franklin said, his tone shifting slightly defensive. Mom left it to the 3 of us. But listen, that's not even the best part. We're all moving in with you for a bit while we figure out our next steps. You've got that big house in Berkeley, and you're doing so well. You don't mind, right? I'm sorry, what? Just temporarily. Christabel needs a place because her lease is up next month anyway. James is between apartments. And I'm planning to invest in Dennis's restaurant venture, so I need to keep my liquid cash available. Your place is perfect. 4 bedrooms, right? Sonia pressed her fingers against her temple. Franklin, you can't just assume I'm going to house all 3 of you. I have a life here. I work from home 2 days a week. My office is in one of those bedrooms. Come on, Sonia. Family helps family. You're the successful one. You've got the tech job, the big house, everything. We're just asking for a little support while we get on our feet. Get on your feet. You just sold a house. The money's tied up in investments. Dennis's restaurant group is expanding to 4 cities. It's a ground floor opportunity. Look, we'll talk more when we get there. Christabel's driving down this weekend. See you then. The line went dead. Sonia stared at her phone in disbelief. She immediately called her mother, Franklin's aunt. Mom, did you know about this? Her mother sighed heavily. I heard rumors. Caroline's kids have always been impulsive, sweetheart. But I didn't think they'd actually sell the house without proper discussion. That property has been in our family since before you were born. And now they're expecting to move in with me. All 3 of them. You don't have to say yes, Sonia. Try telling them that. That Saturday, Christabel arrived first, her SUV packed with boxes. She was 42, 3 years older than Sonia, with the same presumptuous smile Franklin had worn over the phone. Sonia. God, your house looks even better than the last time I was here. That landscaping is gorgeous. Christabel pulled 2 suitcases from her trunk. Where should I put these? I'm thinking the guest room on the 2nd floor would be perfect. Better natural light. Christabel, we need to talk about this. You can't just move in without asking. Franklin said he cleared it with you. Christabel's smile didn't falter, but her eyes hardened slightly. Franklin assumed. There's a difference. Look, it's just for a few weeks. Maybe a month or 2 at most. You've got all this space, and you're doing so well. You don't even have kids or a partner to worry about. What are you using all these rooms for anyway? Sonia felt heat rising in her cheeks. That's not really the point. We're family, Sonia. When Aunt Linda died and you needed someone to co-sign your student loans, who helped? My mother. This family has always taken care of each other. Now it's your turn to step up. The comparison stung because it was true. Aunt Caroline had co-signed Sonia's loans when her own mother couldn't. But that was different. That was a signature, not an invasion of her entire living space. Fine, Sonia said, the word bitter in her mouth. But we need ground rules. And this is temporary. Of course. Absolutely. You're a lifesaver. James arrived the next day, and Franklin the day after that. By Monday, Sonia's peaceful home had transformed into chaos. Christable sprawled across the living room couch during Sonia's video meetings. James played music at all hours in the kit. Dennis Franklin treated the place like a hotel, leaving dishes everywhere and expecting Sonia to manage the household. On Wednesday evening, Sonia made dinner for everyone, hoping to establish some boundaries over a calm meal. "So," she said, passing the salad bowl, "I wanted to talk about the house situation. How long are you planning to stay, exactly?" "Not long," Franklin said, loading his plate with pasta. "Just until Dennis's restaurant launches go through. His opening locations in Portland, Austin, Denver, and Phoenix simultaneously. It's an incredibly ambitious expansion." "That seems risky," Sonia observed. "For restaurants at once in different cities?" "That's why the returns will be so high," Christable interjected. "We're ground floor investors. Dennis's got this whole thing mapped out. Farm-to-table concept, local sourcing, Instagram-ready aesthetic. He's already got celebrity investors. Have you seen any business plans? Financial projections?" James laughed. "God, Sonia, you sound like a banker. Dennis is our friend. We've known him since college. You think he'd screw us over?" "I'm just saying, due diligence is important when you're investing money from our house sale," Franklin interrupted, his voice cooling. "Our house. Our money. Our decision." The table fell silent. "I wasn't trying to overstep," Sonia said quietly. "I'm just concerned." "You're concerned because you're a control freak," Christable said, not unkindly. "You always have been. Some of us are willing to take risks, Sonia. That's how you build wealth." "I took risks," Sonia countered, feeling defensive. "I worked my way through college, built my career. With family help," Franklin reminded her. "Let's not forget that." Sonia excused herself and went upstairs. She could hear them laughing in the kitchen, probably at her expense. 2 weeks passed. The house situation deteriorated. Christable started inviting friends over without asking. James borrowed Sonia's car without permission and returned it with the gas tank empty. Franklin held loud phone calls about the restaurant venture at midnight, pacing in the hallway outside Sonia's bedroom. When Sonia confronted them, the response was always the same: "You're being uptight. We're family. Why are you making such a big deal out of everything?" On a Thursday evening, Sonia came home from the office to find Franklin in her home office, sitting at her desk. "What are you doing in here?" "Just needed a quiet space for a conference call with Dennis and the investors." "Your office has better Wi-Fi. This is my private workspace. You can't just..." "Jesus, Sonia, I was just making a phone call. You act like we're criminals." Franklin stood up, brushing past her. "You know what your problem is? You've forgotten where you came from. You've got this nice house and this comfortable life, and now you're too good to help family when we need it. I am helping. You're living in my house rent-free, and you're holding it over our heads like some kind of saint." Christable was right. "You are a control freak." That night, Sonia lay awake, questioning herself. Was she being unreasonable? Was she obligated to sacrifice her peace and privacy indefinitely because family had helped her once? The guilt gnawed at her, but so did the resentment. On Saturday, Sonia tried a different approach. She researched Dennis's restaurant group and found almost nothing online. No website, no social media presence beyond a bare-bones Instagram account with generic food photos. No business registration in any of the 4 cities Franklin had mentioned. She brought it up at breakfast. "I did some research on Dennis's restaurant group," she said carefully. "I couldn't find much information. Have any of you actually visited the locations?" "They're not open yet," Christable said, scrolling through her phone. "They're in development. But have you seen the spaces? The business licenses? Any documentation?" Franklin's fork clattered against his plate. "Here we go again. What exactly are you implying, Sonia?" I'm not implying anything. I'm asking reasonable questions about a major investment you made with money from selling your mother's house. Our mother's house, James corrected. And it's none of your business what we do with our money. You're right, Sonia said, fighting to keep her voice steady. It's not my business. But you're living in my house, and I'm concerned because I care about you. Dennis's restaurant group has no online presence, no verifiable locations, nothing. Doesn't that worry any of you? It worries me that you're so jealous of our success that you're trying to sabotage it, Christable snapped. Dennis is our friend. He went to Berkeley with us. He's not some scammer off the street. Even friends can make bad business decisions. Or worse. Franklin stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. You know what? I'm done with this. We came here because we thought family would support us. Instead, you've been judging us, questioning us, treating us like children every single day. I'm trying to help. You're trying to control us. Just like you control everything in this perfect little house with your perfect little life. Franklin's face flushed red. We should never have come here. Then maybe you should leave, Sonia heard herself say. The words hung in the air. Maybe we should, Franklin said quietly. But let's be clear about who's breaking up this family. It's you, Sonia. You and your suspicions and your condescension. We'll be out by the end of the week. Franklin, wait. But he was already walking away. The next 3 days were Arctic. Her cousins barely spoke to her, moving through the house like hostile ghosts. Sonia felt sick with guilt and anger, playing the conversation over and over in her mind. Had she been wrong to question them? Should she have just kept her concerns to herself? On Tuesday evening, Sonia returned from work to find Christable and James loading boxes into Christabel's SUV. Franklin was inside, throwing his belongings into a duffel bag. You're actually leaving, Sonia said. What did you expect? Christable replied coldly. You made it clear we're not welcome. That's not what I said. I just wanted answers about this investment. Because you think we're idiots, James interrupted. You think you're smarter than everyone else because you work in tech. That's not fair. Franklin emerged from the house, duffel bag over his shoulder. He walked past Sonia without a word. Franklin, please. Can we talk about this? He turned, his eyes hard. You know what your problem is, Sonia? You're so busy being successful that you forgot how to be human. Family is supposed to trust each other, support each other. But you interrogate us like we're criminals. You treat your own family like suspects. I was trying to protect you. We don't need your protection. We needed your support. There's a difference. He walked toward the SUV. Sonia followed, desperation rising in her chest. Please don't leave like this. I'm sorry if I overstepped. I just care about you. You care about being right, Christable called from the driver's seat. There's a difference. You'll see, Franklin added, opening the passenger door. When Dennis's restaurants open and we're all successful, you'll see how wrong you were. Franklin. Save it, Sonia. The sound of breaking glass stopped them all. Sonia turned to see her living room window shattered, a rock lying among the shards on her hardwood floor. Franklin stood near the flower bed, his arm still extended from the throw. What the hell did you just do? Sonia's voice shook. Consider it payment for your hospitality, Franklin said, his face twisted with anger. You want to accuse us of being scammed? You want to act like we're children who can't make our own decisions? Fine. But you don't get to do it from your high horse without consequences. You broke my window. Send me the bill. Oh wait, you're doing so well, you can probably afford it yourself. He climbed into the SUV. Christable started the engine without looking at Sonia. James gave her a contemptuous glance from the back seat. They drove away. Sonia stood in her driveway, staring at the broken window, feeling like the world had tilted off its axis. She went inside and called her mother, her hands shaking as she swept up the glass. "They're gone," she told her mother. "And Franklin broke my window when I tried to stop them." Her mother was silent for a long moment. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. They're hurting, and they're lashing out. They're hurting. Mom, they invaded my house, dismissed all my concerns, and then destroyed my property when I dared to question their judgment. I know. But they're also scared. They made a big decision with their mother's house, and now they're defensive about it. People do terrible things when they're scared and ashamed. I was trying to help them. I know you were." Sonia spent the next week replaying everything, wondering if she could have handled it differently. She got the window fixed. She reclaimed her space. But the house felt hollow now, haunted by anger and betrayal. 6 weeks later, her mother called. "Sonia, have you seen the news?" "What news?" "About Dennis. It's all over the local papers. He was arrested. It was a scam, the whole restaurant thing. There were never any real locations. He was running some kind of Ponzi scheme, using investment money to fake progress on restaurants that never existed. He had fake websites, staged photos, everything. For cities, just like Franklin said. All of it fake." Sonia felt her stomach drop. Oh God. The cousins. They lost everything. The entire amount from the house sale. Franklin called me this morning. He's devastated. Sonia's first instinct was a terrible, shameful flash of vindication. She'd been right. But it was immediately drowned by a wave of grief for her cousins, for Aunt Caroline's house, for the family fracture that now seemed permanent. "Have they tried to contact me?" "No. I think they're too ashamed." Sonia sat with that information for 2 days before she picked up the phone. She called Franklin 3 times before he finally answered. "What do you want, Sonia?" "I heard about Dennis." "I'm so sorry." Silence. "Franklin, I know things are bad between us, but you're still family. If you need help." "We don't need your help." His voice was flat, dead. "We don't need your I told you so. I'm not calling to say that. Aren't you?" "You were right, Sonia. Congratulations. We were idiots, and you were the smart one. Are you happy now?" "No, I'm not happy. I'm sad. For all of us." "Well, that makes 2 of us." He paused. "Christabel's moving back in with her ex-husband. James is going to stay with his girlfriend's family. I'm figuring it out. The offer still stands. If any of you need a place, we're not coming back there. Ever. You made it clear what you thought of us. That's not fair. I opened my home to you. I tried to warn you. And we didn't listen. We get it. We were stupid, blind, whatever. But you want to know what hurts more than losing the money? It's knowing that you saw this coming, and instead of trusting us enough to work through it together, you just waited for us to fail so you could be proven right. That's not what happened. Goodbye, Sonia." The line went dead. Sonia sat in her quiet house, tears streaming down her face. She had been right. She had tried to help. But somehow, being right felt like the loneliest victory in the world. Her mother came over that weekend. "They're not going to forgive you," her mother said gently, sitting on the newly repaired couch. "At least not for a long time. Maybe never. I was trying to protect them. I know. But protection that isn't asked for often feels like control. And being right doesn't always heal relationships. So what should I have done? Just watch them walk into a scam? Maybe. Sometimes people need to learn their own lessons. And sometimes, the cost of being right is higher than the cost of being wrong." Sonia wiped her eyes. "Mom, they sold Aunt Caroline's house to a con artist and then broke my window. How is this my fault?" "It's not your fault. But it's not entirely theirs either. We're all just people, sweetheart. Flawed, scared, prideful people trying our best and often failing. The question isn't who was right or wrong. The question is whether you can live with how this ended." Sonia looked around her beautiful, quiet house. She had everything she thought she wanted. And she had never felt more alone. "I don't know," she whispered. Her mother took her hand. "That's the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes there is no good answer. There's just the answer you can live with." Lessons. Boundaries must be set early and clearly. Sonia's mistake wasn't caring about her space, it was saying yes when she meant no. When Franklin announced their moving plans, she could have firmly declined instead of reluctantly agreeing. Clear boundaries prevent resentment from building. Help that breeds resentment isn't really help. The cousins threw past family support in Sonia's face when she tried to set limits. True support isn't transactional, it doesn't create lifelong debt or obligation. When someone uses past kindness as leverage, the relationship has already become unhealthy. Family shouldn't mean accepting mistreatment. The expectation that Sonia should endure invasion of her space, dismissal of her concerns, and destruction of her property simply because of blood relation is toxic. Family relationships require mutual respect, not just one-sided sacrifice. Due diligence isn't optional, even with friends. The cousins' trust in Dennis blinded them to obvious red flags. Personal relationships don't exempt investments from scrutiny. Any legitimate business venture welcomes questions and provides documentation. Pride and shame are powerful destructors. The cousins' inability to apologize, even after being proven wrong, shows how ego can make reconciliation impossible. Admitting error felt worse to them than permanent estrangement. The deepest lesson: in family conflicts, there's rarely a clear winner. Sonia protected her boundaries and her judgment was validated, but lost her cousins. They maintained their autonomy but lost their inheritance and their dignity. Everyone paid a price, and no one emerged whole. The question the story leaves us with is not who was right, but rather what are we willing to sacrifice to be right? Sometimes the answer is everything. Sometimes it should be nothing. Learning to tell the difference is the work of a lifetime.